Hello, I'm Ronald Isley of the Isley Brothers, and you're watching The Griot with Marc Lamont Hill.
Right now on The Griot.
I'm a young black man that has been set up. I have been set up, man. And when you guys hear, you know, the stuff that you're going to hear, it's going to really blow your mind.
From claims of an FBI setup to media manipulation, the now convicted Bishop Lamor Whitehead is speaking out about the case and the convictions and what's next. Thanks for joining me tonight on The Griot. I'm your host, Marc Lamont Hill. We begin tonight with Bishop Lamor Whitehead, a.k.a. the Bling Bishop from Brooklyn. The embattled pastor is facing up to 45 years in prison with sentencing set for July 1st. He was convicted on 2 counts of wire fraud, 1 count of attempted wire fraud, 1 count of attempted extortion, and 1 count of making false statements. Now, since the verdict was handed down in early March, the bishop has been on a social media campaign to clear his name.
I am not guilty. Simple. Simple. Bishop Lamor Whitehead is innocent.
Joining me now is the man himself, Bishop Lamor Whitehead. He is the pastor of Leaders of Tomorrow Church in Brooklyn, New York. My brother, welcome back to The Griot. Good to see you.
Man, great seeing you too, man, and thank you for having me.
Of course. The first thing I want to ask you is, how do you feel? You know, you've been convicted. You've had a season of some loss. I know you lost a loved one. Emotionally and mentally, where are you right now?
I'm good, man. I'm really, really good, Mark. You know, I trust in God, man. I trust in Jesus. And, you know, I lost my grandmother. We had to bury her. She was my best friend, 108 years old. And that was a heavy hit to me. So I'm doing good, man. I'm doing really, really good. I have a great legal team. I have a great family support system. And most importantly, man, I really trust Jesus and I really believe in what he has said and what he has promised me. So I'm really, really doing good.
Now, I know before the verdict came down, before the trial started, you also expressed a faith that all things would work out and that God, in God's time, would make things work out. Were you surprised at the verdict? You know, they came down on March 11th and they were guilty counts. I mean, how'd you make sense of it?
Yeah, man, I was very surprised. But however, you know, it was so many different things that were going on in trial. As far as a lot of manipulation, a lot of lying. You know, if you would like me to get into it, you know, I even though they got the guilty plea, I know that the innocence of and the vindication of this case is going to come to fruition. It's just a matter of time. You know, they did so many under the hand, and when I say they, I say the FBI. They did so many things to. So when a person is found guilty, that doesn't mean that the person is guilty. What that means is that there's a lot of legal things and legal transactions that happen in between court that allowed the jury to find me guilty. However, if you find out that the FBI did illegal things to manipulate the jury, then is the person still guilty? So I'm
okay. So let's go there. Let's go there. Talk to me. Yeah. Talk to me about what happened, because I know your legal team has filed a motion for a new trial. You're saying the FBI tampered with or somehow illegally impacted the jury. Tell me exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, 1,000%. So this was the political attack on the on the mayor of New York City, Eric Adams. And you guys know that he's the second African-American mayor of New York City. And I am a famous pastor. And what happened was they had an informant, by the name of Brandon Belmonte, who I've been talking about for the last year and a half, almost 2 years. And what they did was they structurally made him look like a victim. He was never a victim. He was an informant. And they placed him around me. I had my wife's car being fixed at his shop. Make a long story short, he was recording me. He lied to me and told me that he owned property that I can purchase. All of this was a hoax and all of this was a lie. Brandon Belmonte has been an informant and he was planted in my life to try to take down the mayor. So all of the information that he supposedly brought to the FBI stating that Bishop Whitehead put the mayor of New York on FaceTime with him, and the mayor stated to him that I do big things and we're going to do things with Brandon Belmonte, and we promised him favors under the table and all different type of lies, right? And what they did was they knew, the FBI knew that he was an informant. So that's why, what's the guy name? Damian Williams. It blew my mind how you sit here and say that he was a businessman. You know that he's not a businessman. You know that he's been an informant since 2013. You know that the FBI
let me ask you a question about that, Bishop. So if your argument is that the FBI put someone in your life as an informant to get you to snitch on Eric Adams, and this was all a plot to undermine the mayoralty of Eric Adams and to bring him to justice or to jail. I don't know if Eric Adams has done anything to go to be a justice for. But if that's the case, in the trial, why did your team not make that clear? I know there were moments where in the trial you talked about tampering, you talked about you being set up. Why was that not persuasive to the jury? Why didn't you give more information?
So there's certain things that legally you can't say to the jury. There's motion practice that handcuff you from saying certain things to the jury. So with Brandon Belmonte going to the FBI, supposedly, and making up all these lies, what the jury don't know is that the prosecutors did not want to call him as a witness. And the prosecutors blocked my team and us from calling him as a witness, so therefore we can question him about what he said to the FBI. So he was not allowed to testify in front of the jury. So we questioned him all of the things that he stated to the FBI to get me investigated, to have me indicted. We questioned him all of these questions. Did I commit wire fraud to him? Did I try to extort him? Did I promise him favors with the mayor of New York if he gives me $500,000 or if he gives me real estate? We asked him all of the questions that he went to the FBI supposedly and told them that I did, so therefore I can get indicted. You know what he did?
You saying supposedly? Do you think? I was going to ask you. You said supposedly, and I heard you on him pleading the fifth. Are you suggesting that Mr. Belmonte is lied to the FBI, or that the FBI is lying about Belmonte giving them the information?
You know what? This is what we're finding out. So I believe that the FBI planted him. And then also there's a theory where that he's just been working with the FBI and he told them how close I was with the mayor, and they agreed on him being in my life and him lying. So what I'm saying to you is this, right? So I can be very clear. Everything that he told the FBI that I did and that me and the mayor did, when we questioned him right before trial or during trial, but not in front of the jury, he pled the fifth. So how can you go to the FBI with information, get me arrested, have me indicted? They use what he said to get subpoenas, to get search warrants, to go through my life. And then when it's the time to come for him to testify against me, he plead the fifth in front of the judge, not the jury. So now he used the Fifth
Bishop,
Amendment.
let me put a pin there, Bishop. I got to take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to finish that thought. And I also want to ask you about some other things connected to this case. Everybody, stay here. We're talking to Bishop Lamor Whitehead about his recent conviction and about what lays ahead for him. Stay here. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Griot. We have been talking to Bishop Lamor Whitehead about his recent conviction and all the things that went on in his case. He maintains his innocence, and he continues to talk to us right here on the Griot exclusively. Bishop, let me bring you back in here. This all started off with the accusation. The accusation was that you tricked and stole $90,000 from a parishioner, and that you used that money to buy luxurious items for yourself. And I know in our first conversation, you pushed back against the idea that she was a parishioner. And it seems, based on what I saw in the trial, she wasn't a parishioner. She's now being labeled as the mother of one of your parishioners. But the core claim that she gave you $90,000 for a home purchase, and you ended up buying luxury items, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, whatever they say you bought. What do you say to that? This woman was compelling. I ain't saying she's telling the truth, but she cried on that stand. She said she believed in you. She said that, I trusted a man of God, and that she got robbed. Clearly, the jury believed her. Tell me how we got there, and tell me what's true and what's not true.
So, this lady, I've met this lady maybe 3 times in my entire life. She was the mother of one of the preachers that was with my church. And I had to remove him from my church because of him being very disrespectful. Prior to me removing him, he was very close to me. I helped him buy his house. I married him and his wife. I paid their mortgage. I did so much for them because I'm a giving person. However, he wanted to get into real estate. I told him, in order for you to get into real estate, you have to have money to invest. He said, I'm going to talk to my family. I'm going to talk to my friends, see if I can raise the money. He then came back to me and said, Bishop, my mom is going to loan me the money in order for me to invest into the real estate firm. So what happened, and what you guys don't understand, he purchased his home. However, he got an FHA loan, and his mother co-signed for him. Now that his mother co-signed for him for an FHA loan, that has to be her primary residence. She'd never lived there. So therefore, she can't get an FHA loan, which is 97% financing, and all she had to do is put down 3%. That's out the window because she used it for her son. Her son lied to her and told her that with the money he invested into my company, therefore we were going to give her a house, which is lies. And that also came out as well when I testified, because they saying that I was supposed to purchase the house. I was supposed to fix the property up with her $90,000, and then after a year, give her back the $90,000. So I'm supposed to spend $500,000 on a property, deed it over to you for $90,000, fix it up, and then give it back to you. It just didn't make sense. All of this is because of her son. Her son was upset that I removed him from the church. And what happened with the FBI, Brandon Belmonte was the only person that started the investigation. FBI needed somebody else so it can be called a scheme. They found one person suing me, and they reached out to Pauline Anderson. Her son was already upset that I removed him for the church. You have to also understand that before I was prosecuted, this was a civil case. And they didn't say I used their money to buy luxury items. What they said in the civil court was that I purchased a house, my own house, with their money, which they see that was untrue. So the FBI manipulated it, switched the civil case around, and had them say that they trusted me. I don't know this lady, right? I know her son. I met this lady in person maybe 3 times. She came to my church 1 time. But they used all of this to try to tear me down. And he also, her son also tried to use other allegations to try to get me indicted that I don't even want to get into right now. And that failed. So he was very malicious. And everybody's upset with me, saying that this lady was a member of my ministry. She was not. She was an elderly woman. She's only 50, I believe, 3 years old. But you shouldn't take from anybody. Everybody thinks that I robbed somebody. I did not rob this lady. I didn't know this lady. I never made an agreement with this lady. It was her son who lied to her, and I didn't know. And the first thing that I said to her when she texted me for her money back, I said, well, what are you talking about? I said, you have a contract with your son. Like, but what are you talking about? And she said, contract. And this was, he gave me the money on November the 30th, 2020, right? And it was supposed to be for a year investment. He wanted out in May, right? Which is only 4 to 5 months. So therefore, they sued me for this money because he wanted to start a case against me because I removed them from my church. That's what this is all about. And so when they sued me, I hired my lawyer, and my lawyer said, do not contact with them. No, do not contact with them no more. So I was found guilty because the prosecutors kept asking her, did you receive the money back? Did you receive the money back? And she said
Bishop,
no, and she started to cry.
Bishop, before we go, I want to ask you, you're going to try to get a new trial. If you get one, what's the basis of the new trial request going to be? Is it ineffective counsel? Is it improper, you didn't get access to due process? Is it going to be, what's going to be the argument for the new trial?
The argument is pretty much they did not prove their case. They manipulated the case. See, what you guys don't understand is there were all type of illegal evidence that was presented in front of the jury. They saying that I didn't pay the lady back. She sued me for $1,090,000. My attorneys told me not to speak to her no more. So I got convicted because I did not give her money back, and I never made any agreement with her. But I want to say this because I know time goes fast. I want to say this. The FBI wanted me to work for them. They wanted me to be an informant against the mayor of New York. Not saying that the mayor is doing anything, because he's not. But they felt that he's doing something, and they knew how close I am with him. So the charge lying to an officer, right, was because they wanted my cell phone number so that they can bring me in to have a conversation with them about being wired up against the mayor of New York. I'm not doing that. I wasn't doing that. And they told me that they was going to make my life a living hell. So for me talking about Brandon Belmonte and Miss Pauline Anderson, that does no justice to me because the FBI set me up. They lied on 6 search warrants. Right? And they didn't give us this information that we found out that they lied on 6 search warrants until 3 days before trial. And when we filed the motion to get everything suppressed, the judge stated that it was untimely. So you have to understand that the FBI, and I'm not saying all the government is corrupt, but the ones that's after myself and after
you're saying the ones who were targeting you.
Yes.
Gotcha. And I got to run, but
Yes.
but I just want to sum up the argument for the audience that you're saying that you did none of the things wrong that you were found guilty of, and that this is the result of FBI retribution because you failed to participate as a snitch. And I agree with you. I wouldn't snitch either. To be a snitch or an informant against the mayor, and also the charges against the parishioner are because of a disgruntled parishioner, but it's all tied up to the same web of I don't want to say railroading, but at the very least, the government is doing the thing that they promised you that they would do, which is to make your life a living hell if you didn't cooperate. That's a hell of a journey you're going through, and I wish you luck. Everybody, stay with us here on the Griot. We got a lot more coming up. All right, family, we have reached the end of the show. But before I let you go, right as I was wrapping my interview with Bishop Lamor Whitehead, he insisted that I give the audience a final word from him, and I want to be a man of my word and let him have it. So here it is.
All of these was a witch hunt. Listen, I'm just want to let y'all know, I'm a young pastor. My family is going through this. I have 4 children, right? I never robbed no lady. I didn't commit. I am innocent. I'm innocent, and I was set up. And look what's happening to the black men of America, people that are famous, okay? So many untold people came to my ministry and got their lives saved. And now, I'm facing prison time because of the simple fact that I'm a black man. My father was beat and strangled to death by 16 police officers because of the color of his skin. Now I'm facing all this time because I did not want to be an informant for the FBI. To go against my mentor, right? All you have to do, stop looking at what I wear and understand my heart, okay? And I was set up. I'm innocent. If I wasn't innocent, I will ask for your forgiveness. I am innocent, and I wish the death threats would stop. I wish the ridicule would stop. But you want to know what? Whatever God has for me, I'm going to go through it with strength. I'm going to go through it with courage. But y'all look at this black man and understand that I'm always going to be Bishop Lamor Whitehead, and I'm going to stand 10 toes down. And I could be your son. I could be your cousin. I could be your uncle. And we black African-American people need to stop tearing each other down and ridiculing. I am a man of God. and I did not do what they said they did. They set me up because I didn't want to be an informant. Thank you for your time.
I want to thank you for joining me tonight. My name is Marc Lamont Hill. I'll see you here tomorrow.